And it's gone 10:30, and as promised, my last guests have arrived. That music, dramatic as it sounded, it is, and it's Richard Strauss, Ariadne auf Naxos, and that's what we are going to talk about. Richard Strauss is known for his dramatic operas like Salome and Elektra, and later one, Rosenkavalier. But this one is really fun. Ariadne auf Naxos is being presented by the OperaBox. It's a work many opera houses avoid because of its difficult staging and music. Trust West Australian OperaBox to succeed. What with singers like Fiona Jobson, Eva-Marie Middleton and Henry Choo in the highly experienced cast, and Christopher Dragon as conductor, a fabulous opera evening is secured. Soprano Eva-Marie Middleton and tenor Henry Choo have come to the studio for a chat. Good morning, lovely people.
Good morning, Dita.
Guten Morgen, Dita.
Oh, I think I've exhausted my German for today.
I think I have too.
Well, I did a little bit more than good morning. Guten Morgen. Wie geht es?
Ich bin sehr gut.
Here we are. We're getting we started German radio here. Right. Now, you attempt a very ambitious work. Why is it so difficult? Why do other opera houses not play it?
Well, as you would have heard in the excerpt, the music is full on, let's put it that way.
Yes,
the beauty of this piece is that it's all about sort of high art drama, opera versus low art comedy. And as a result, you have to do all these very quick changes of tempo and style. Yeah. And I think that's where the difficulty really lies. Plus, it's got a very large solo cast. There's 13 solo principals in the
that's
cast.
A lot.
Well, actually, technically, there's 17.
Oh, yes.
In actual fact, there are 17, but we've got a few people doing dual parts. And that is in itself the difficulty, because they're not, whilst they might be small roles, they're not like bit roles. They're actually pretty much standalone characters. Yeah. Every character has value. Yeah. And so to cast it vocally as well as dramatically is quite challenging.
Among those 17, how many tenors?
Oh, that's actually only 2. Technically it's 3.
Because I thought that might be another difficulty to get hold of 6 or 7 tenors. Yeah.
Tenors are always hard to come by. We're very lucky to have Henry here.
It's very lovely to be here.
And that's a good one. You got a good one there. So it's high art against popular art.
Yes.
It's a play in a play, an opera in an opera.
Yes, so the scenario is that we've all been invited to this rich person's house. He's so rich, he's commissioned his own opera as the entertainment for his guests.
Sounds like an OperaBox donor, really.
Yes, it's exactly the type of people we like.
Lucky you.
But we arrived to put on this very serious, wonderful opera, the Ariadne auf Naxos, to find that he's also hired a comedy troupe. And he's hired some fireworks, some pyrotechnics as well. And there's simply not enough time to have them all go off in time for the dinner that he wants. So he says they're all going to happen at the same time. So we've got to do the serious opera at the same time as the comedy and make sure we're in time for the pyrotechnics, because they're going to go off at 9 o'clock regardless.
That's a fine scenario.
That's right.
I suppose there's a lot of bickering going on between those two groups.
Most definitely. When you have 2 sopranos, I tell you what, all those stereotypes are true.
Experience, yeah? My goodness me. Now, you have among the cast, of course, apart from you, 2 famous people, you've got some others, Jobson comes
We certainly do. We've got quite a star-studded cast, you might say.
Yeah.
We have Fiona Jobson from Melbourne.
Yeah.
She's originally from Sydney, I believe, but she has played the role of Mimi for City Opera. But last year, in fact, she won the Herald Sun aria, which is Australasia's most prestigious singing award. And so she comes over, fresh from that.
Yeah.
And after Ariadne, I believe she's off to London to do some auditions and further her career. So it's wonderful to have her here on board. And then, of course, we have quite a few local Perth artists who, namely Jenna Robertson, and I almost called her by a married name, sorry, Jenna, if you're listening, and Michael Heap, and of course Eva-Marie.
Yeah.
And so we, and also some other very talented cast members, of whom sing with the Western Australian Opera. In terms of quality, we certainly have, there's certainly quality there.
Henry, since I last talked to you, you have been going places. You've done a lot, haven't you?
I've done a bit of travel.
Tell me, what did you do?
Well, I've only just literally come back to Perth on Sunday night because I was in Brisbane doing a Carmina Burana with the Queensland Symphony and a Mozart Requiem with the Wellington Orchestra prior to that. So it's been a little bit busy of late, but it's lovely to be here. And, coming here on Sunday night and watching the first rehearsal, I couldn't help but laugh. It is such, Ariadne. I've actually done Ariadne earlier this year with a different company, and that was a very traditional performance, production. This production of Ariadne with OperaBox is anything but traditional. And I think the beauty of that is that it will reach out to audiences in a way that people won't be expecting. So, when people talk about Strauss and they talk about Strauss operas in particular, they think all, grandiose and it's very, highbrow. Yeah. Well, there is that, but it's so entertaining. And I actually said at rehearsal, was it last night? I think it was. No, actually the night before, I said it would be terrible as an understudy coming into this piece because you wouldn't be able to sing without laughing. Everything you see in that's going on around you would just make you laugh and forget your words. And because I've only really been rehearsing for a short period of time, that's I feel a little bit like that. And here I was singing away, and I could see Jenna Robertson in the background doing something quite funny, and that just made me laugh.
So who is the character you are playing?
Oh, I'm playing two characters. Technically, it's the same character, but as you're saying, there's an opera within an opera. Yeah. So in the first half of the show, which is known as the prologue, I'm playing the role of Ein Tenor, which is the tenor, and he is stereotyped in that it's all about him. But I think I'm a bit typecast, really. And in the second half, in the what is known as the opera, I then play the role of Bacchus, and Bacchus is a demigod. He's the son of Zeus, and his mother is a mere mortal. So he's a demigod that is able to escape the clutches of Xerxes. So it's a lovely scene for me. But I got to say, I think my role is one of the easier roles in the opera. It's such a challenging work for the singers, both in terms of musical challenges as well as dramatic challenges.
But I understand that in the first act there's not much singing, it's all recitative.
Well, there's a bit of a mix. I'm in the first act. My character is the composer of the serious opera. And so there are moments where we're all sort of talking on top of each other, as it were. But then there are other moments where my character gets carried away with music and the love of the art form, because I'm the composer. I happen to have all these other ideas in my head. And so there's sort of moments of, you can almost see, this is the next opera I'm going to write, because this melody doesn't actually come back again. So it's bits of that as well.
Fabulous. Now, Eva-Marie, we saw you last as Joanna
Giovanna Seymour or Jane Seymour in Anna Bolena.
That's right, yeah. But before that, we saw you as the mother and the witch in Hansel and Gretel. I will never forget that.
She's a very good witch, I think.
Yeah. You didn't recognize her. Absolutely.
Thank you for saying that. Some people have said they recognize me in that, and I'm not quite sure how to take that.
Shame on them.
She's actually a really nice person in real life, everyone. So,
thanks.
So please say hello to her if you see her at the shops.
So you can cope with this now, with that role of yours.
I think so.
Are you in the second act too?
The composer doesn't sing in the second act, but of course I'm very aware of what they're doing to my opera in the second act. So you might see me being at times not so happy with what they're doing to my opera.
We don't want to tip our hand a little bit too much there, but she's involved.
Yes, I'm around the place. Since I did Anna Bolena the first time last year, playing Jane Seymour, I had the opportunity to sing the Strauss Four Last Songs with the Fremantle Symphony Orchestra around this time last year. And that was really my first sort of dipping my toes into the water of Strauss, and I loved it. The feeling of that orchestra swelling up beneath you to support you, and having done Jane Seymour again in Albany earlier this year, and now going into doing an actual Strauss operatic role, I'm feeling
you will be a specialist in Strauss.
I like it a lot. It's very nice.
And if you don't mind me saying so, Dita, but obviously Strauss, it's a Strauss opera, German, and people are tithinking, gee, you know, should we come and see this opera that's in German? Well, the beautiful thing about it is in the day of modern technology, we have things, you know, surtitles, essentially the English translation broadcast via a projector above the action. Now, normally, you know, translations that are printed onto surtitles are, you know, quite standard and traditional. Our surtitles have a little bit of a twist to it. And I think little bit is perhaps a little bit of an understatement. But the surtitles are just as amusing as what you see on stage, and they will certainly reach out to all audiences. So, you know, it's very much not just what you see and what you hear, but being able to understand what you see and what you hear is really important.
Now, how do you feel in other operas having to sing in different languages? Do you mind? Wouldn't you prefer English?
Well, actually, English is probably one of the hardest languages to sing in. German is difficult because if you're not familiar with singing in German, it's quite a what I want to say, a fricative.
It's got lots of consonants.
Lots of consonants. Yeah. But of course, the key to singing in German, and as you being a native German speaker, of course, is if you don't hear those consonants, it doesn't sound quite right.
Yeah.
So you know, if you
I never understand them.
Yeah, you know, if you try and sing German in an Italian style where you have lots of vowel and little consonants, it doesn't quite sound right to a German speaker.
No, but you have to concentrate as the singer. You have to concentrate on the vowels. I was a singer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't even carry.
That's right, and of course the voice, things don't make sense unless there are vowels behind the sound. So
that's right.
It's challenging, but look, it's there's this lyricism in the way Strauss writes his music. Now, I won't say that the lyricism is there all the time, because there are some moments where it just sounds like a cacophony of noise. But then, as Eva was saying, there are these moments in the first act in particular, which actually she has some of the lines, these gems, these wonderful lyrical moments, and they come out of the texture for maybe 20, 30 seconds, and then they disappear again into this cacophony of music. But they're there, and they sort of pepper everything that happens in the opera.
Italian, singing in Italian is, I suppose, the easiest, best.
Oh, it's the one with the open vowels.
It's the one everyone starts with, I think. So you always go back to your first. But it's always interesting exploring the different qualities in all the different languages, and it's part of the joy of singing opera.
Now, what about Mr. Dragon? Now, he's coming back with some experience, having done 2 years in in
Colorado, and they've just renewed his contract again. So he's doing very well over there.
Yeah. So how is it working with him? Okay,
it's wonderful working with Chris. It's this is I think his fourth opera. He first did Rigoletto with us a few years ago, and it's wonderful for us all to have grown as performers together. So we have that familiarity, but you can also see the new things he's brought to his conducting style since he's been away.
He's only 25 or something.
Yes.
Oh, he looks 15. I'll tell you what.
But he's working incredibly hard and very successfully. He's got some great ideas.
Okay.
Yep. And the wonderful thing is he's leading an orchestra of 35, and
it's quite a big thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a slightly smaller. Well, it is smaller than what would be traditionally done. Yeah. But the beautiful thing is, in terms of for those audiences that have followed OperaBox through the years, OperaBox has gone from orchestras on stage, or without a pit, and this now they've expanded to a degree where we now have an orchestra in a proper pit.
So it's a proper opera.
It is a proper opera, yes,
well,
and a lovely performance.
You are performing at
the Joy Shepherd Performing Arts Centre in Mosman Park, which is at St Hilda's College.
Yeah, now that's got a fabulous stage, hasn't it? A fabulous
it certainly has. We did Anna Bolena there last year.
Yeah.
And it was, the facilities are pretty amazing.
For those who were at Anna Bolena last year, we had a couple of different venues, and I think we basically took a vote of everyone, and the overwhelming most popular venue, particularly among the orchestra, was St Hilda's. The most comfortable seats, the best space. We were very happy there.
Well, eventually, of course, you will go into the heart of Perth performing.
Well, we keep growing, so who knows where we'll end up in the end.
But don't go to the Heath Ledger Theatre. The acoustics are horrible. At least for the audience.
I'm sure we'll go wherever we can.
So you are performing in the Joy Shepherd Performing Arts Centre in St Hilda's Anglican Church for Girls in Mosman Park.
Yes.
And the 9th, 11th and 16th. And on the 13th, there's a concert performance in Darlington Hall Darlington.
We love our audience in Darlington. Yeah. Right from the very first opera back in 2011, we've made the trek up there. And so we couldn't take all the sets and everything up there because the stage is smaller and it doesn't have a pit. So we've got to take those things into consideration. But we did want to go back to see our audience there. So they'll get the very special concert performance.
So will that mean that they will have more difficulty finding out what it's, because you are not acting it?
I think it's still going to be pretty clear. I must admit, I'm not quite sure how it's going to be done yet.
Exactly.
But, you can tell from the music who's got the different characters.
I mean, the surtitles will still be there, so
so they know what it's about.
Follow the story. It's just obviously without many of the set and the props and things like that. It's, as Eve was saying, because this is the biggest undertaking that OperaBox has done to date. It's not necessarily a portable set, whereas Anna Bolena that we did the last year really was had that in mind, the possibility.
And they could do that.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. Well, I have a feeling you're looking forward to it.
I think we are. And I hope that people who are listening to this will, have had their interest piqued, because I think it's going to be a wonderful production. And I'm not just saying that as a performer. I'm saying that really as an audience member. If I were to sit in the audience to watch this opera, I would certainly be laughing, and I would come away from it feeling that I had a wonderful night out. You
might think that the opera houses grab that and perform it, but did Sydney do it?
It hasn't been done for a very long time, and I think the last time they did it, I believe it was only with a piano.
It was performed, about 10 years ago, from the Australian Opera Centre that used to be in Midland, and they just did it with piano, as Henry says. The only other Strauss opera I ever performed in WA was a lecture at the PIAF a few years ago. So let's bring more Strauss to WA, I say.
Yeah, why not? Ariadne auf Naxos. Well, OperaBox, not to be missed. Well, folks, thank you. Thank you very much for...
now, we actually have something special for your listeners. We would like to give away a double pass to one of our performances.
Thank you.
And if you'd like to give them the number of the station that they can call up.
Yes.
And best dressed, as they say.
You hear it, folks. Our number is 94942100. If you want a double pass free of charge for Ariadne auf Naxos and have a hilarious night at the Opera House, give us a ring, 94942100.
And if you don't mind me saying so, Dita, if you are unlucky and don't get those tickets, you can actually book online at the following web address, bit.ly, so that's bit.ly/Ariadne Tix, and Tix is spelled Tix.
Okay.
Alternatively, you can go to the OperaBox website, which is www.operaboxwa.com, and there's a link there also.
Fabulous. And if everything else doesn't work, you can go there and hope it's not sold out and you get a ticket at the night.
And if you do come, please say hello to us after the show. We'd love to see you.
We like talking to people.
Now, you brought some CD along, and we played the first bit. I play you out with the second one. Do you know what it is?
This next track is the famous aria from this piece, which is Ariadne's Es gibt ein Reich.
Es gibt ein Reich. There is a...
Truth, isn't it?
A Reich is...
There is a realm.
A world. There is a world, Okay, right, we will do that. So I say thank you very much for coming in, Eva-Marie Middleton and Henry Choo.
Thank you so much for having us.
We will see you again, certainly on stage.
We'll see you there.
Thank you very much.